As a first-rate, first-world problem solver, i.e. someone who throws money at any minor inconvenience, the release of the Logitech MX mechanical keyboard couldn't have come at a better time. There are more and more Bluetooth wireless keyboards out there. Is the MX Mechanical from Logitech a good choice? Well, these are my impressions after using it for a couple of days. There is a full-size version, which I have here, and there's also a 75% version, which is called the MX Mechanical Mini, I think it is, which is pretty much the same as this Keychron K2 version 2. This is not a sponsored video. I purchased this keyboard, so I just wanted to give you my first impressions of it. First of all, let's go ahead and just talk about what this is so we're all on the same page. Obviously, it's a mechanical keyboard, but it connects via Bluetooth, and you can connect it to 3 devices simultaneously. I mean, you can't control 3 devices simultaneously, but you can have 3 devices connected to it that you can then switch between. There are 3 different switch options, so if you're not familiar with mechanical keyboards, there are a variety of switch types that all have different feels to them, different sound profiles, I guess. I went with the tactile quiet one. So let's talk about some of the features of this keyboard. It does have backlit keys. There's no RGB, so it's just a white backlight. There are various levels of brightness of the backlight. There's just a function 3 and 4 will dim or brighten the backlight, and also you can just turn it off altogether. What's neat also about the backlight is that it has kind of a proximity sensing feature, and this is a carryover from the older MX Keys membrane keyboard. But if you just kind of back away from the keyboard or move your hand away, the backlight will shut off, as it just did there. And then if you come back closer to the keyboard, you don't have to touch it. Sometimes it doesn't quite sense. You have to wave your hand a little bit. It has a USB-C charging port here on the back, and it has an on-off switch. And right here on the top, there is a battery indicator light, which doesn't stay on. It comes with this charging cable, so USB-C to Type A. It's not a very long cable. And my understanding is that this isn't a wired keyboard, so if you plug this in, it doesn't change it from Bluetooth. It just always has a Bluetooth connection. Alternatively, it does come with a USB dongle, so if you have an older device that doesn't have built-in Bluetooth, you can still use this if you just plug that dongle into Type A port on whatever device it is you're trying to pair it to. Battery life. I've only had this for 2 days, so I can't vouch for Logitech's claims, but they do say that if you use the backlight continuously, you can expect about 15 hours on the battery before you need to charge it. But if you turn off the backlight, you can get up to 10 months of continuous use of this keyboard. The key typography on here has both Windows and Mac keys. The top row has a lot of function and shortcut keys that are very much similar to what you'll find on a Mac OS keyboard. You've got controls for monitor brightness and obviously the backlight brightness that I've already showed you. Some of these I'm not really sure what they do yet, but there also is an emoji key that works both in Mac OS and Windows natively. It has a microphone mute button, so if you have a USB mic connected, I haven't tried that yet. It has all of the requisite media keys on here. It has those 3 keys to switch between the different devices that it's connected to. There's a calculator button, which doesn't pull up calculator in Mac OS. I don't know if there's something you have to go into the operating system to enable that function, but it did work right away in Windows 10. And also, if you pair this with, or if you download the Logi Options software, you can customize all of these buttons as well to basically do whatever you want. Only not whatever, it won't like toast your toast or something. Within reason, you can customize that stuff. First impressions about build quality. I was really surprised at how lightweight this is, especially for a full-size keyboard. This is a lot lighter than the 75% Keychron, especially for a keyboard that has a battery in it. And also for a mechanical keyboard, just how slim and svelte it is. That's something that you would probably notice about mechanical keyboards, is that they tend to be kind of chonky. They're big, they're bulky. So this obviously has those low profile keycaps, so they're not the full-size keycaps, but even despite that, just the overall build, the housing of the keyboard is also really slim. However, it's also very rigid. There's virtually no flex in this, which is impressive considering how slim it is. The build quality, or the materials, are a mixture of plastics, so I guess the overall housing of the keyboard is plastic, but the back plate underneath the keys is aluminum, I believe. And if you go on their website, they kind of make a big deal about using a lot of recycled plastics and aluminum in the building of this keyboard. I don't really know much about the keycaps themselves, how they're printed, so I don't really know how durable they're going to be. The keycaps themselves, even though they're really thin, if you really tried, you could maybe crack these just because they are so thin. But they have a nice kind of matte finish to them. They're not real slick. And as you can see, you can just pop them off. It doesn't come with a key puller like most keyboards, like most mechanical keyboards do, like this. The bottom of the keyboard has a long rubber strip here and then two smaller rubber strips on the little kickstands. Show you this real quick. If you do have a like wooden desk surface, unlike the older MX keys, it does have a kickstand, so you can change the angle. So if you want to prop it up a little bit and increase the angle or the slope of it, you can do that. But unlike most other mechanical keyboards, in my experience, it only has one option for angle. A lot of other mechanical keyboards will have a taller kickstand and then a shorter one. So essentially you've got three options with basically every other mechanical keyboard that I've ever used. Follows along the MX line of products, being more sort of office centric as opposed to flashy. A lot of mechanical keyboards can be pretty out there in terms of color schemes and designs. So it definitely fits into this kind of like gray, inoffensive kind of office vibe. But yeah, I think it looks nice. Slim bezels for the most part, except for this top bezel, which has the Logitech logo on it. There's a little bit of wobble with these keys, but I feel like the overall typing experience on here is really nice. I find that between these three, these all have brown switches, by the way. This is Cherry MX Brown, and these are Gatoron Browns. I think this one is actually the most comfortable to type on. I will give you a sound comparison with all of these, just so you can get an idea, plus the MacBook Pro, which I would imagine maybe would be similar to what you would get if you got the Magic Keyboard. Maybe, I could be wrong. I find that this one is really comfortable, that I'm also probably the most accurate amongst all of these three keyboards. Let me just wrap up this video by giving you a quick list of pros and cons. I feel like it looks pretty nice, it's sleek, it's classy looking. Pro number 2 is the build quality. For about $175, I can't remember, $180, you would expect that it have a nice build quality, and it does. Pro number 3 is just how easy it is to set up. It's very easy to pair to different devices, and also switching between devices is super fast and really easy. It actually switches almost instantaneously. The customization, I'm not big into that, but if you are, it's nice to have those options, although of course you do need to use that software, which you may or may not like. Number 4, is that 4? Is the typing experience. Out of all of these different brown mechanical keyboards, I find that this one is actually the most comfortable and the one that I make the fewest mistakes on. I'm not like a great typist, so any little bit helps me. The last pro would be the battery life and the backlight options. The ability to get up to 10 months of use out of one charge is pretty insane. In terms of cons, I really don't have that many so far. I guess I would like for there to be another option in terms of the angle adjustments. I guess if you're comparing this to the Apple Magic Keyboard, there is no Touch ID on this. The last con is kind of the big one for me, and that's the price. It is about $180. I can't remember exactly how much off the top of my head. And the mini version I think is $150. If you're comparing it to the Apple Magic Keyboard, that is still actually more expensive than this by like $10 or so. So I guess it's a relative bargain compared to the Apple Magic Keyboard, but we all know that's overpriced. This does give you more functionality in terms of pairing it to multiple devices, also Windows computers, with no problem. If you compare it to the Keychrons, which start at like $60 for really all the versions, so the 75%, the 10 keyless, and also the full-size version, I think they're all the same price. So that's obviously less than half the price of the Logitech, and these both do the exact same things. I think the Logitech does have, I mean, the overall performance of it is better. It switches faster. That's probably longer than I want it to be for first impressions. I might revisit this keyboard in the future with a longer term review. If you're interested in that, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I really appreciate you watching the video, and maybe I'll see you another time. That's fine. I don't need to do that again, do I? I probably do. Should I? No, I'm not doing it.